Shocking murder mystery out of Hollywood.
The suspect, one of pop icon Katy Perry's ex-boyfriends.
Why are we telling this story now?
Before Orlando, Katy had a string of unhealthy relationships.
We did some digging, and you're not gonna believe what we found.
He went on a violent rampage, allegedly killing his landlady.
They say that women are biologically drawn to the bad boy.
I just like having fun.
She's had a series of bad boys in her past.
There was John Mayer, Travie McCoy, but the worst.
Police officers investigating this grisly murder.
Which one of her exes was the most dangerous?
He's like a famous boy.
Katy was drawn to Russell's rebellious persona.
I found the love of my life.
And they married within a year of meeting. Things went south very quickly.
The Russell brand asked Katy Perry for a divorce through text.
I kind of believe in this fairy tale.
Fame and power money is bullshit.
The tabloids obsessed over the divorce.
The fact that that marriage lasted 14 months.
I'm ashamed.
I knew from the beginning you'd never stay married.
What happened next was shocking.
I'm gonna figure out all of this.
Oh my God.
This is the real life story behind the tabloids.
I would hear girls, they would say, oh no, I don't want to be in a relationship because I don't want to have to choose between being in a relationship and having a career. And I thought to myself, when I find that person, I won't ever have to choose because they'll be accepting of me. And then I started to realize, oh my God, like that fairy tale that I had is not true for me right now.
Yeah, but you still miss it.
Yeah.
You can see how heartbroken she is.
But isn't she happy and engaged to Orlando Bloom?
Why are we telling this story now?
Well, before Orlando, Katy had a string of unhealthy relationships, and her infamous marriage with Russell Brand was the beginning of the end.
When Katy and Russell first met, Katy was side stage watching while Russell rehearsed some jokes. And then she decided it was time to get his attention.
Arcing across this huge venue came a plastic bottle and it struck me on the forehead. I looked, at the other end of it was Katy.
Katy was drawn to Russell's rebellious persona, and she fell really hard for him.
You know, when you're growing up and you're falling in love for the first time, for me, being in love now, it's kind of the same feeling, like having that teenage dream.
She was this like candy pop princess. Russell was this like rock star comedian. And even though they both had busy schedules that were pulling them in different directions, they were really trying to make it work.
And I try not to go too long without seeing her because I miss her otherwise.
Yes.
You know? So about like a week or something, I have to see her.
Things moved really fast. They got married the next year in India. It was extravagant. After the honeymoon, when Katy's world tour took off,
She was at the height of her career. Her album Teenage Dream had 5 #1 hits, but all she could focus on was Russell, who was suddenly very absent.
18 days apart.
Yeah. Isn't he coming to you?
Well, he should, but...
it's taking a huge toll on Katy. But she was on a world tour. She had people depending on her, and she couldn't let everyone down. Katy was struggling, but Russell was acting like nothing was wrong.
There's a rumor that you and Katy split up. So.
What? She should have told me.
So it's not true.
He seems really optimistic there, so what happened next was shocking.
What happened?
Katy was blindsided when she opened her phone on New Year's Eve and saw a text message from Russell asking her for a divorce.
Wow.
And the media ate it up.
He divorced her via text message.
I mean, you could be in the best position of your life, and then you get one text message that just makes you fall to your knees.
Could you ever imagine being in a position where you would divorce somebody by text message?
That's cowardly.
I don't think it's cowardly. I think that she set the stage for that.
Unhealthy relationships weren't new to Katy. She had always been drawn to bad boys. Before Russell, she had a troubled relationship with Travie McCoy, who admitted his drug addiction ruined their relationship. And before Travie McCoy, there was Johnny Lewis.
Who's Johnny Lewis?
He and Katy were together for about a year, from 2005 to 2006.
What happened between them?
Johnny was a drug addict, and a few years after they broke up, he did prison time for assault, battery, and burglary. Then in 2012, the year Katy and Russell divorced, Johnny was found dead.
How did he die?
The BBC reported that he fell or jumped off the roof of his house after murdering his 81-year-old landlord.
Oh my God.
After the divorce and Johnny's death, Katy had a string of short-term relationships that didn't really go anywhere.
It's like all these things that you do to distract. You eat, you work, you get a new boyfriend.
And then she met Orlando Bloom, who had just gotten divorced too. Their first date was a pretty different vibe from the one she had with Russell.
When I met Katy, we both had bottles of apple cider vinegar because I said, wait, what have you got in your water? And she was like, apple cider vinegar. I was like, no!
We're made for each other!
This is it!
He is the kindest man I've ever met, and he shows up and he is such an encouragement.
Orlando was all about self-improvement, and he had a son, which really changed his perspective.
What's your favorite thing about being a dad?
Being a kid again. Like re-experiencing life on that level. He opened my heart in a way I never thought was possible.
Probably the beginning of something that she actually needed.
But Katy was in a totally different place in her life.
A baby can't have a baby, and I'm still a baby.
I am childlike, and that's how I operate, and that's how I express myself.
Katy was sabotaging her chance at a healthy relationship with her childish behavior.
He wasn't like falling for any of my bull anymore. And so I was like, well, I'm bored. And, this isn't exciting anymore.
She had this healthy relationship in front of her, but she was bored by it.
It's even more toxic.
And when her next album, Witness, underperformed, it became too much for her to handle.
I had broken up with Orlando.
My expectations weren't met. And the world didn't want to hear from me anymore. I just couldn't get out of bed for weeks and became clinically depressed.
The pattern wasn't going to change until she did.
I'm gonna go deeper and I'm gonna figure out what the hell is underneath all of this. I had to go on a journey to understand why. Why I basically let someone else be responsible for my own happiness.
And as Katy changed, Orlando came back.
Do you think Orlando couldn't handle where you go in depression?
Actually, the opposite. He's the only one that can handle it. I showed him all of it. I got help. I went deeper into therapy. I was able to do the work because mentally I was more stable.
It allows us to see that by letting go of it may be familiar, but it's toxic and bad for you, then we can allow ourselves to truly receive what we need.
Katy may have had a pattern of toxic relationships, but when she had the opportunity to have a healthy relationship, she had to take control. She had to make the changes. And that's the power in that. You can make changes in your life to bring the good things in.
How excited are you about becoming a mom?
I'm excited. Just excited for a new adventure and really grateful that I've been able to, live already such a great life. Dating is different. Weekend lovers, that's fun. That's candy. This is solid. This is like the main course.